I was checking my sound, making sure. I can't stop eating. I am eating so much. It's like I had 2 chicken finger baskets, chicken tendies the other day. I mean, just grotesque. Grotesque food. What I need to do is have a good steak, and that'll reset me. I need to go out, get a steak, baked potato, maybe like a tuna tartare thing or a lobster bisque, and just, okay. And then move away. Move away. I should have a steak every fucking day. I got off the GLP-1. Like, I can handle this. Then I try to Abilify. Not because I'm crazy. I'm crazy, but not for the reasons you think. I got on it for low-dose Abilify. Apparently helps NFKB and all these inflammatory kind of processes when you have an autoimmune disorder. Low dose, so under 2 milligrams. I didn't have a compounding pharmacy. My friend gave me some to try. I was afraid to try it because I've heard of people having weird reactions where they don't go back to baseline. They're like stuck at a lower state, whatever that means, lower state of cognitive, ability. They're just, permanently more retarded than they were before. And so I decide, okay, I'll do 0.5, something like under 0.5 or 0.5. I took like a corner off of a 2 milligram. And it helped a little bit. I felt a little less dopamine. I wanted to take some Adderall later in the afternoon, but it helped. And then the next day, I felt even better. And then Saturday felt good. And then Sunday in the afternoon, I got a flare. I'm like, okay, well, that's the half-life. Half-life ends after 72 hours. So I'm like, all right. But scary drug. Antipsychotics, just in their namesake, scary drug. That thing will make you fat. They'll make you fat. So, bro, I'm recording. Be respectful. Respect it. Kayate.
Oh, yes, Kayate. Yes, I. Not don't show it. Yes, don't I. Here. I'm in the time here.
He just, he's a Ronin. He's a samurai without a master, so you have to talk to him.
Yes, time.
She understands. I'm really tired of this war. I'm so sick and tired of it. It's like, I think southern Lebanon is in play for Israel, and Trump's prolonging the bullshit. He's been, for the last 3 ceasefires, I mean, they're in 3 now that have been violated. He says things publicly that aren't agreed to by Iran. I really believe, and I trust Iran on this, I trust the third parties like Pakistan who say the same thing. Like, this guy is saying shit that they agreed to, almost instigating this violation to then allow Israel, I think, to bomb Lebanon further. They want to secure the territory, and they haven't done so yet. So that's why these weird little, we agreed to 25 years, no enrichment. And they're like, what? No? And like, Israel, keep bombing. Just giving them a little bit more time to secure the territory. But the same token, the overarching idea is that the Donbass region being kind of approved for and kind of consecrated to Russia, the U.S. government's kind of not interested in helping Zelensky anymore. Russia's involved in the peace negotiations with Iran. We're trying to save face. We can see that Russia purposely slow-rolled the entire Ukraine operation to fork U.S. military assets and kind of put us in a weird bind. But even still, the powers that be had us go into Iran. We're still there. I just don't know how Israel doesn't just keep doing whatever they want. Like, what's the point of having a ceasefire with the United States if Israel keeps bombing your country with U.S. weapons? It doesn't make a lot of sense. The weird thing with Melania Trump coming out after the last engagement where she's like, I never had a relation with Epstein, right after the ceasefire agreements, almost like to appease Mossad before they lay out the bullshit. Like, how dare you work with Iran, the evil devil, to deny our expansion of Greater Israel. We will put compromat on you now, which is my version of some sort of like weird Russian Chabad Lubavitch Jew who's like, all right, unleash Epstein file. Fuck big fat Trump. And he preempted it. I'm assuming they had pictures or something, but it's like she knew they're innocuous. They're going to drop something, and she's refuting to preempt that drop, which would be more, like party pictures, but nothing related to, she and being in bed with Epstein at the time. So it was more about like people dropping cables or something, like emails or something. She just refuted it flat out. So that was preempting something. Maybe it's still yet to come out. Maybe there was more, but so far nothing. Maybe they're buying time in negotiations. Like they purposely, okay, agree with the Iranians about one thing. Say to the United States citizens in a public statement another thing. When Iran says that's not what we agreed to, but like you're violating, then you give Israel more time and will delay dropping the sex tape of Melania and Epstein, which we have. And so Trump's in this weird rock between a hard place. That's what I suspect. She, Melania didn't take questions. She just left. It was such a bizarre thing. Why are you mentioning this now? You're blackmail. When someone has blackmail on you to come out first, it's a prophylaxis against further damage, but also buys you time because it's not a one-party solution. You have Iran and some of their counterparties and what they want. And it's like, dude, how the fuck are we supposed to get these people to sign anything? It seems literally like we want it to be over, but Israel doesn't. And so we're, doing whatever we can to make them happy. Not Iran, Israel. And we just don't have an answer. We cannot go in and win. It would be a nightmare. It would actually be bad for Israel if we went in and failed with ground troops. So what else is going on? You got a clavicular Odin, which is bound to happen. Richard Spencer had a good part about how this comes from being raised by a single mother, I think, and a single mother who's rich. Is clavicular creates this world where he's sleeping with women. A lot of the influencers do this. They create the persona of being rich. You pay them for the ability to see them act like a rich young person, a trust fund kid or what have you, and then you enrich them. You're the one taking the kind of facade and making it real. Like as if Dan Bilzerian was not a trust fund kid and you thought he was really cool and a great poker player and you funded his kind of like media empire, if it were, and he's made money off something online like the Tate brother, like that, except it's very like for me, my mom taught me to hate my dad, and so my dad came from nothing and became successful. But not seeing a man and the work ethic and everything, and having a mother who's kept, who doesn't have to work, it kind of, you can say that's quite a privileged position to be in. Of course it is, but it's not without its problems. I've mentioned some of them in the past, so just to be interest of saving time, you don't know what it takes to build up the empire, the sacrifices that have to be made, the considerations for your time and sacrificing everything else. So you don't really think about, you don't really see someone as an example of what it takes to be successful. You have all these people telling you you're working too hard, it's too extreme, and it's like, no. Like, you don't want to listen to them, and you don't even value their opinion. They're fucking, they're like some bimbo or like a friend of yours. It's like, his parents brought platform tennis racquetball to the Hamptons or something at one of the clubs, and you're like, you already have it. You went to prep school, it's like we're all like, you don't need to work that hard, man. Like, yeah, I don't have that. So blah, blah, blah. So you know what I mean? Like like the kid who's on scholarship at the prep school, and he has to work extra hard. But I never had any of the background. I just had the money and like being coddled, and then it backfired. But clavicular story is even more than that. Richard Spencer doesn't mention clavicular started from the bottom, worked very hard, made a lot of sacrifices, and built his brand. Kind of out of an era of, inceldom and looks maxing forums by kind of showing this is how I do it. Like when I used to do I still do it. I haven't done it in a minute. I need to order some like radius here and here. I think like makes my face look a bit more masculine. Some people say it looks like I have a triangle stuck in my face, but even still, I think it looks cool. If I'm lean enough, you get this like this pop. And that was I did this well before, that kid, the guy that killed the cats and was the serial killer online. That guy did it before Clav, but I didn't subscribe to this extreme, which is like. I saw the best jaw implant guys, Dr. Yermachuk at he's in Massachusetts. I don't know if he's head of maxocranial facial surgery at Harvard, one of the schools there. There's some guys on his website that have posterior mandible angle implant using Porex. Porex is tough because if you have an infection, they have to rip it out, and by its namesake, there are pores, so the tissue grows in between it. It's kind of uncomfortable. They screw it in. Less bone erosion because it doesn't move as much. Silicone, Dr. Flowers did Tom Cruise's implant. You can see a guy online getting the same implant and having a similar facial shape. Not Tom Cruise exactly, but very similar outcome. Silicone is not attached. It's like put underneath the muscle, so it like erodes the bone. But you have these kids online talking about like orbital rim implants, which are really cool. Give you that model look where you always look like you're squinting. And then you have this projection here, which I don't have. It's like very flat, or I have bags under my eyes, whatever. Gives me some character. It's very like you don't want to tell anyone about this. Like women don't want to know if it's for women. I'm assuming it's for. It's men find like guys who are good looking. It helps you in business and stuff as well. It makes you intimidating. The jaw thing, I think, on its own does that too. Even though women might feel like, God, that's crazy. You have a protractor in your face. But women generally don't want you to look like you're trying. So you don't talk about this, You don't ever want to tell a girl that like you wear like you dye your eyebrows or stuff. That stuff works. A gay hairdresser told me that. Like my eyebrows are too blonde. He's like, you have to like darken them because it frames your face better. He was right. But you don't want to tell people this. You don't want to like say it on a podcast that you like made a note of that. Now I didn't come to that on my own. A gay hairdresser who I value his opinion said that. And I was like, don't know what you're talking about. Sounds a little gay. Tried it. I'm like, holy shit. Takes 10 seconds in the morning. What's the big deal? Then you like look for your right stick, I think I had it here because I had to buy some more from Amazon. Suzuki key is a good one. Try that one. Like find your color. You just want something a little bit darker than your hair, or I don't know, maybe your complexion. It's just like you have to know, your shit. These girls were talking to me about color matching, or your spring color, or your like what looks best on you. And like, what if you just like wearing what you like, and you don't need like a palette of colors to pick out? You have some sense. If you just go by a machine to like, this is your correct outfits for you, that's great. But it's even better, and you'll enjoy it more if you have a general artistic disposition towards aesthetics. Like I was raised by a single mother, so it's like I'm almost part gay. My mom took me to like open houses, and shit like that. I'm like, oh, this would go great if they took the red brick, painted it white, and then did the polka dot chips. The polka dot chips. Probably have a fucking AI machine to do that now, but like and then add some ivy. Really big fan of the house and Father of the Bride, like those type of houses. Looked like our house growing up. What is that? Victorian, colonial, 6 windows across, something like that. So you want you have to have some idea of what you like, and it's not universal. I mean, it's good taste, but it's not necessarily for everyone. Some people like their house and their aesthetic to look like a museum. Some people want to look like a Jill Sander model who looks like they're about to, suffer from a suicidal ideation episode and whatever. It's like some combination between that boxy look, the shoulder pads, and like minimalist. It's weird. It's a little like, what is this? Is this like it's like a skeuomorphic 1980s with nihilism, like just a touch. Anyways, yeah, it's hard, man. You should learn. People either have a good sense of fashion and have a good sense of how to take care of themselves, and then the other thing is like, it's not your job. Like I find that as I'm getting older and time is important to me, it's like working out constantly is kind of such a waste of time. Like I think you work out like at the gym, heavy weights, like 3 times a week at most, and like go on walks. Your workout should be like an hour walk, an hour and a half walk. Get in nature, enjoy your time. You don't have a lot of time. Spend it. Go out there, enjoy walking, enjoy like spending time with animals. Do talk to friends, meet people, make fun of yourself for someone else's benefit. You know what I mean? Like you ingratiate yourself, but not effectually. There's no end to you. You see some people walking down the street, you're with your girl, and you kind of like take your, wrist and go like this, and like, you notice your shoe's untied, and like, do you mind tying my shoe, please? You're like, oh sure. I like my back's hurting. And she goes down, she ties like, ye tie my shoe, bitch. And they walk by and they're laughing like, oh my god, they can't make fun of you because they think you're retarded. But tie my shoe, whore. So I was milkshakes. You said no. Fuck you. And that makes the other people, that's their day. And your girl's like, sit up and like, what are you doing? Stop that. Don't like, what do you mean? No one cares. It makes them happy. They honestly are going to say like, this person that was handicapped was like really rude to this girl who was probably his caretaker. It must be so difficult to work with him because, and like, he's probably rude. She's like wiping his ass because he can't. He's like, ha ha ha, poopy. Like, my very high IQ girlfriend at university, it was first borderline I dated, she used to do this thing like, hey, and then she like whisper, hey, John, call me John, you want to come to my party? You want to come to my party? It was really good. Maybe you had to be there. I once was on the run from my friend's drug trafficking case as an interested party. And I was going to be taken in by the feds because they wanted my friend who I went to prep school with, who trafficked hundreds of pounds of MDMA through Europe. And interested party. Like, they were trying to press me for information. But I like, did not, like, I'm not involved, but, like, they kind of get you into this conspiracy racket of like, something. If you don't say anything, you're part of the conspiracy. They have no interest in me, but I'm technically they're trying to bring me in, and I'm scared. And I'm like, living in the Berkshires in Massachusetts, like kind of staying with family. I'm like, this crazy thing's about to happen. My friend's gonna go to jail forever when they find him, and they want me to rat him out. And I was in this small township there, and I saw that girl again, like after years, and she's, I don't know, like with some guy, and she's like fighting with him, but she does this thing where she takes her hand and like goes from around my back, like she almost recognizes, either she sees a tall guy, she's just like, oh, I want some affirmation because my boyfriend's not making me happy. So she slides her hand like down like by the small of my back and then looks at me and then keeps walking, like makes eye contact. She told me later that the feds were like asking her where I was and emails, and it was like, and they were doing stuff like, he's been sending all this like David Yurman jewelry to my like ex-girlfriend at the time, like recent ex-girlfriend, and to make her jealous to figure out where I was. And I'm like, dude, they are crazy. They are crazy. And I'm not even charged. They're just trying to like, they think that I'm like his best friend. They're like, oh, he knows something. And in truth, he did fly me to Vegas and did give me like tens of thousands of dollars to pay, to play blackjack, to lose, to spend money on horizontal entertainment. The shit that goes on there. Like, you think like movie shit where like the casino, oh, like you want this girl that looks like this to, come to your room. That actually happens when you spend a certain amount of money. You do get like the suite from, what is it called? Where the guys go to the hangout, whatever. The hangout? Is that what it's called? The hangout? The hangover. Yeah. They like get the suite in Vegas. Then like if you're spending like if you're like losing $1 million or you're playing like $1 million a hand, I don't know what he was doing. I've seen him bet like a couple $100,000 a hand in blackjack. But let's just say maybe on one occasion I was there, I saw something, but on other occasions he goes bigger. Maybe he didn't want us to see that, like losing $5 million. So the girl, like, what kind of girl you like? I'm like, oh, I like this girl. She's, like, who's your favorite? Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, this girl. And this girl's brought to the hotel within like 24 hours. And I'm just like, this is insane. And this is when I was kind of obsessed with like, I don't know, going after girls and stuff like that. And, I realize what a waste of time that is, in every way, shape, or form. And what a waste of time like perfection is in a way. Like you're building your career and then it's there, and then you get enough money where you don't have to work anymore, and then you're like still wasting time with other things that are like trivial. You still like the mindset of like being a master of none after you've been successful in one thing is because you missed out on being like eclectic, and it's self-defeating. You have to kind of go all in. You can be on the board of a friend's company or something, but if you're trying again, oh, I didn't try this, I want to try that, and you're just like, no. You got to kind of still, if you want to really start a company again, you got to like be there, like right on the ball, just as you were before. Everyone that's successful thinks they can be successful in everything. That's not the case. It doesn't work that way. You cannot just like make money and then start day trading. Like how many people do that and like fuck up? Like I made money online and now I'm trading stocks. Like as if the action of buying and selling a security online through your broker, like whatever, E-Trade or what have you, that is trading, that is investing. No, that's the execution of the trade through a digital application, like a program. That is not investing. That is the execution of what should be like hours of your time, researching stocks and stuff. So many people think it's like, isn't trading just buy and sell up and down? Like, no, not really. Like the first month I was trading with $250,000 when I first started, and I had like, around that, or the biggest position was 250 grand. I think I had like 500 and 750 grand, something like that. Not money earned, and the positions were like XOM, like trading in of that, like 10-20 cent moves, and I made like $30,000 my first 3 weeks of trading. Not that I was a genius. I was like, oh, I'm like, and it just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Also, like how much of that quote unquote alpha was just the beta of the market. Like the way a stock moves will eventually work against you, and then you have to take that loss. Anyways, you have to know that like when you're wrong, it's not a position that becomes a long in your portfolio. It's like, okay, you have to cut it. Like if you have a position that's like a 9 confidence interval, you believe it's really going to do well, and you make a mistake, but you don't accept the mistake, you just hold the dog, you hold the shitty position, the bag. That's not correct. And if the size is so big that you're doing that, you're limiting your upward ability to beat the market, to beat beta. Hold on one second. Just checking. I had to get all these new chords. Oh my god, it's brutal. Like, It's retarded. I think I said this the other week. I thought my computer's was the battery was messed up again. All my ports are broken. All the cords at my house, every single computer cord, all the USB-C cables were broken. That's what was wrong with my computer. Not even the battery. I don't even think I needed a new battery. I spent like $500 for them to fix the computer twice, 2 different places. One, a diagnostic for $90 that said, yeah, your ports are all fucked up. And that's what made me think it wasn't my fucking cords. The guy at the fucking first place must have used one of my cords and didn't test his own fucking cords. Unfucking believable. Oh, shit. I'll be right back. Sorry, when I was pooping, I just saw that John Turnus, the head of software at Apple, is taking over Tim Cook in September, I think. And then The Onion's buying, which has been talked about in the past. Alex Jones is in for a worse. I hope that Tim's AIDS has not progressed to a dangerous viral load, and that he's going to be with us for a little bit longer. And I think that, I don't know, someone's backing the Onion. The Onion is like being backed by someone to make fun of Alex, or Alex is friends with the Onion and is buying his own company or working with them, like through a subsidiary as an ownership group. Like he has a stake in his own company. Again, it's like kind of a rebirth of InfoWars, because it's just too silly that the Onion is actually buying InfoWars. Because in many people's mind, the Onion as a parody news website and InfoWars is like, they're synonymous. One's like it's almost like a parody of what InfoWars is, being the Onion. For people who don't like Alex Jones. So like, maybe it's like he's in on the joke and whatever. But yeah, I don't think Tim Cook's been good with Apple as a developer of new things. He's good at CFO work, but they need new stuff. I think it's interesting they signed the contract with Google. I think that actually might be correct over OpenAI, especially with the litigation ongoing. It seems like the development of the language models themselves and then like the housing of that through the ecosystem of Apple makes more sense than like building out the models internally. Yes, that seems correct. Also, the open source thing with China, it's just like, how much do you want to invest in that? Like, it's like, seems like if you're going to give revenue share to ChatGPT or OpenAI, like, but deep search, or what is it called, deep research or DeepSeek, and others, Kimi 2.5, 2.6, whatever one's out. There's so many. Like it's clearly this con, and then you have like Kuhn's ideas of like embedded architecture, like this the amount of compute is like inefficient per like iteration, and like the learning process is too complex. It takes way too much power. Everything's wrong. The entire CapEx spend is a projection of something that is wrong with the current models. The obvious answer is scaling it down and making it better. But everyone's like, next thing, growth. And so you're going to find this weird like shelving of tech that might be better, I think, as GPUs maintain themselves and TPUs as like the kind of standard for running these models. You can't have all the CapEx written off in this giant 2000 bubble again. You can't do that. So, some data centers, yes, but probably projections for more to justify further monies, and then those monies eventually get diverted when they don't build them. When they finally say, you know what, sunken costs, great, but we actually haven't built the data center. Let's use these new models, and that means we can hopefully use less and maybe have photonic computing or something implemented. Maybe at room temperature, maybe not. That woman, Hugh Ho, whatever, from it was an MIT researcher that was able to freeze light, which means you can freeze information. It's very confounding. Oh, yeah. I think about that. Oh, yeah. Where am I? Yeah, freezing light. See, photonic chips would be like 100 times the compute power of like a Blackwell architecture GPU. But you can't store information with light. Well, maybe you can. At room temperature, I don't know. Difficult to say. It's so confusing. Bop bop. Ba bop bop. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba ba. trying to get my someone has my passport. I can't like withdraw my Polygon from my sports bets. All right, I'll talk to you guys. Wait, how do I turn you off?